My name is Salami Olubukola. I'm the Director, Office of the Public Defender, Lagos State Ministry of Justice. The purview of the Office of the Public Defender is to render free legal services to the indigents of Lagos State. The Office of the Public Defender is passionate about cases of children, women, and people that are physically challenged. We have offices all over Lagos State. We have our head office is located at Surulere. We have one in Ogba inside the Magistrate Court. We are at Epe, Badagry, and Ikorodu. We handle criminal matters and civil matters. We give a lot of attention to incidents of domestic violence and children. Office of the Public Defender is a member of the Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team. Yes, of course, we all know that this is a social menace and it's on the increase per second every day. With the knowledge and experience that I've had, I believe one of the ways by which we can reduce this menace is by educating our children, sex education. Sex education should be taught according to age. For little children, telling them and letting them be aware of the parts of their bodies that are private. In fact, in the Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, what we do now is that we go to schools to enlighten children about this. And then for children that are teenagers, also teaching them and letting them know what sex is all about. I handled a case of a 15-year-old that was defiled by a 19-year-old, a very brilliant girl. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, in the course of investigating the case, we discovered that the mother did not teach her sex education. The mother said, she's a teenager, and teenagers, they always assume they know it all. So the mother said in her bid, she wanted to teach her sex education, but she was always saying, I know it, I know it. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, the 19-year-old boy abused her severally within a very short period of time. So it is our duty as parents, caregivers, parents, to enlighten our children and let them know about sex education. Secondly, mentoring these teenagers, mentoring them, engaging them positively. They have a lot of energy, and then letting them, in this age, we have to let them know the real truth. Reality.com. I have a teenager also. I ask her questions like, I know you want to have a boyfriend. Do you want to have sex? She says, no. Do you want to get pregnant? She says, no. Do you have a certificate? She says, no. Do you have a job? She says, no. Positively engaging them and letting them know the reality of whatever you're trying to pass across to them. Also mentoring them. You can tell them people that they can look up to. And then, of course, the issue of silence. We all know that there's people keep quiet about what they have seen, what they have heard, covering up crime, issues of rape, defilement, domestic violence. In Lagos State, we have the mandatory reporter. It's an executive order. And what the governor is saying is that, just like we used to do in the olden days, you see something happen, you hear something happen, you talk about it. Office of the Public Defender is very active on social media. A lot of times we get anonymous calls because people are now speaking out. It's not as if the crime of the offense of domestic violence and rape and defilement has risen. The truth is that people are now speaking up. We get calls, we get anonymous calls informing us about incidents of child abuse, where it has taken place, giving us details about the perpetrator, about the victim. So people becoming conscious of the fact that we have to name and shame. You have to it is a crime. So when people report it, it will serve as a deterrent to the abuser. Deterrent will not have this mindset that I will do it again and nobody will know about it. Nobody will report me. Another thing that we can do is, of course, I've spoken about the culture of breaking silence. And then for us in the Office of the Public Defender, there are times when we have issues with the police. They don't want to arrest. They don't want to prosecute. So what we do is that we name and shame them. We go to the pages of Punch, the page that normally reports crime, city and court. We just report it, we talk about it, and before you know it, they go ahead and they do the needful at the end of the day. Most of the time, what we do in the Office of the Public Defender is to focus on ensuring that the perpetrator is arrested, and then of course the survivor is rescued, taken to Mirabel, given medical examination and attention, and then we now ensure that the police, they charge the matter to court. There was a particular actress. What happened to her was that it was a case of domestic violence, and the police, they just refused to play their role. And with the assistance of the Office of the Public Defender, I remember I went to see the Assistant Commissioner of Police. We were able to effect his arrest. Not only that, after he was arrested, he was arrested on a Friday. The woman now called me, that is the popular actress, that the man was speaking to her, that is the perpetrator, in his hotel room. So what we did was that we ensured that the matter was charged to court. As we speak now, the case of the popular actress is in court. There was another one, of course, for the purpose of confidentiality, I cannot mention her name. Her husband was suspecting that she was having an affair. So there was this day she came back home, and there was a man in her car, and the guy just got a spanner and broke her knees. The matter is also in court. A third one I want to talk about is the case of three girls, and the allegation was that the father had abused the first one some years ago, and the matter was now in court. The matter was in court for about a period of 5 to 6 years, and in the course of it all, the girls were released to their parents. I now got a call from the girl, because there were 3 sisters, that it was like the father was about to repeat the same thing to our other sisters. With the assistance of the Office of the Public Defender, we got an emergency order. We rescued the 3 girls. As we speak now, they are in one of the government shelters in the home. So these are just a few of some of the cases that we have been able to record success. We all know that the governor of Lagos State, Governor Akinwumi Ambode, is very passionate about issues of domestic violence, rape and defilement. We should all join hands together to ensure that this menace is put to an end. We have a lot of instances when families of the survivor they say they want to settle out of courts. When you settle out of courts, you are passing a wrong message to the perpetrators. If the other perpetrators know that if you do it, you are arrested, you are prosecuted, and you end up in jail, I'm very sure that it was sending a message to them. Then, of course, for the survivors, my message to them is that there's another life. You can get your life back with the assistance of psychologists, with the assistance of social workers. There's another life after domestic violence and abuse or defilement at the end of the day.